So here are some cold email mistakes that I've done in the past that you might be doing right now without even knowing. Or you might be doing right now, but you don't really have a system that helps you avoid making those mistakes. And this video, my goal here is to pretty much bring to your attention some of the universal mistakes that I believe we're all doing, and some of the solutions that I've applied and you might benefit from also. With that being said, I'm going to be looking down sometimes because I wrote a quick list that I might forget, and if I need something to recall on, I'll be looking down here. Okay, the first mistake that I've made, and that I have no doubt you're making right now, is probably going to be trying to have everything perfect before launching. This could be for a new campaign, your own campaign. This could be you're starting out, whatever it is. When it comes to cold emails, it's not as simple as cold calling, where you can just scrape a phone number and then call people. Okay, this is different. This, you need to scrape people. You need to have a quote. You need to have multiple different emails to A/B test. You need to have records set up. It's so much stuff. And my advice to myself when I'm doing this in real time, and my advice to you, if you want to take this that I'm applying, is pretty much I have a list of everything that needs to be done. Okay. But if I'm really in a rush, I make sure I tick off those non-negotiables and get the campaigns launching. And as things are moving, then I go and finish those tasks that weren't done. Because with cold emailing, there's always going to be something that's going to erupt. And if you're going to make having everything in order your way of doing things, then people like me will always exceed you in going to market. That's pretty much what it is. Okay, cool. By the way, that was actually the second thing that I want to tell you. The first thing is cold emailing, just like Meta ads, is really a numbers game. Think about it. You're paying Meta $100 to maybe get in front of 1,000 people. Now, those 1,000 people have no idea if you're those thousands of people that you will be showcasing your ads to on Meta platform. You don't know if they're interested in your product. Neither does Meta know. Sometimes, yes, they will know. And sometimes too, even with cold emailing, you will know, because cold emailing, as you're aware, you can find leads based off of intent with softwares like Bambora, which helps you find prospects based upon what they've been searching. So yes, but what I'm trying to say here is, within all the 1,000 people that Meta is targeting for you, not all of those people have the intent to buy or have ever shown interest in your product. So it's really a guessing game. To a certain extent, it's really a guessing game. The same thing with cold emailing, is really a guessing game. I know people in real time that have sent emails to people that were looking for that specific service at that time, in that specific minute. How could you dictate and predict that? You can't. So understanding that should bring relief to your heart, to let you know that, okay, if it's so, then I will exert every single amount of effort that I can. But at the same time too, I will not sit down and drench myself or loathe my own existence because I'm not getting the results. You should know, yes, the effort is dictated and is dependent upon you. But the outcome, to an extent, is not yours. So try your best. Try everything you can. And then if you're a believer in God like me, leave the rest. Because the results will come. It might not be in the same week. It might not be the same month. But with sales, there is always a lag in between your efforts and the results. As much as I hate to mention that, that's pretty much the truth. Okay? Now, third thing. A third mistake that I've done with cold emailing has been the DNS records and SPF records. You need to make sure these records, when you're setting them up, if you don't want to do it, have an automated system through make.com. If you don't want to do that, pay someone. These records are very, very important. Without these records, as you're aware, whoever we're sending to, their ESP provider, their email service provider, will reject our emails because there's nothing that shows it's coming from a legitimate source. So DNS records really, really important. A lot of people overlook that. And one thing I want to mention is a lot of times when we're cold emailing, what we do is we have a lot of domains and we redirect all of these domains to our main domain, just in case the person that's receiving our email copies it, right? But in 2025, there's a better way to do that actually. Instead of just actually redirecting 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 50,000 different inboxes to one domain, it's kind of sketchy. So in 2025, what you can really do is you can use a software like Email Bison. They have a service whereby they can almost spoof your domain. What does that mean? That basically means whenever someone actually searches up your main, your subdomain that you use for cold emailing, instead of it looking like it's being redirected to your main page, it's almost as if they're copying your main page and adding it onto that subdomain. So there's no rerouting that needs to be done. And not only does that increase your perception as a real individual in the eyes of the ESPs, but also it reduces your chances of being looked at as a scam also to individuals that are getting your emails. Because why would I want to be copying your subdomain and then be redirected to a main domain? It's kind of sketchy on both ends. So that really helps you gain more trust from not only the ESPs but the recipients of your email. Okay, that's the third thing. Fourth mistake that I did a lot of times is not having a good online presence. I'm not saying you should have a top tier website, but have something presentable. Have something that whoever your ideal client profile is, if they see that, they'll be like, okay, this makes sense. If you're selling credit repair, then obviously it doesn't matter how you can have. If you're selling credit repair, you want to have somewhat of a median website. If you're selling to investment bankers, you can have the shittiest website. It could be a WordPress website from 20 years ago. Because with those industries, they're not really, they have outdated processes. But the better your website is, it helps you. If you have 2 to 5 videos on YouTube or social media, it helps. People want to look you up. They want to see who they just got an email from. I mean, you can't expect people to pay $10,000 packages for someone they can't even find a footprint of online. Yes, you can get sales without a website, without online presence. I've done it. But once again, we're trying to make the game we're playing here much easier. Okay? And the first impressions really do matter. And the online presence is key. And another thing that I have on the list here is going to be a pre-call sequence. You should have a nurturing process for people that schedule calls with you. A nurturing process, depending on your industry, you might need more emails. You might need less emails. You might need just 3 emails and 1 text message. This is up to you to find out by doing a lot of more research in your industry and A/B testing, and then find out. This is not a one-size-fits-all. This is something you need to play around with. Okay. And another thing is that when it comes to cold emails, the more bad, excuse my grammar here, but the less attractive your offer is, the more you're going to have a hard time landing in the inbox. That's why I see sometimes people start a campaign, 10% open up rate or 50% open up rate, before you realize, and by the way, you shouldn't track open up rates after you've identified your emails are actually landing in the inbox. So once you identify your inbox are good, the health rate is there, is landing in the inbox, cut that open tracking off, because that will depreciate your level of authority when it comes to sending emails. Okay? That is really true. Because when you leave open tracking, I know I'm derailing here, but give me a second. When you leave on open tracking, it's almost like you're putting a code into your email that says, I'm a marketer, or I'm someone who sends out multiple emails. Okay? Anyway, back to what I was saying. When your offer is bad, it's a trickle effect. It just keeps on reducing your response rates, your open up rate, your landing inbox rate. And the same way also with having a good offer. The better your offer is, the more you get into inboxes, the higher response rates, more booking rates, the higher overall health your inboxes will also have. Obviously, there's a sea of mistakes that people are doing. There's a sea of mistakes that I'm doing. For the sake of time, and obviously I'm fasting, I have an interview in the next minute. There's something that I believe I'm going to benefit off of, and I hope you also, and I have faith, you'll also benefit from this. With that being said, peace out and see you tomorrow.